Yo, peace everybody. This is our second episode that we did with R.E.S.Q 246, and just before the show starts, we did this one through Zoom again, but this time the connection was kind of wonky for whatever reason, so it cuts off sometimes when me and Z are talking, but whenever he's talking, you can hear it perfectly. So yeah, I just want to apologize for that and say thank you to everybody who's been listening to the show. Peace. Enjoy.
I wanted to start by saying that I think it's really awesome what you're doing because I feel like in this life, positive change is a really crucial thing that people should always be striving for. I don't think that you should be neutral. I think you should always be trying to see, like, where am I at? Am I happy where I'm at? Am I the best version of myself? Are these people around me doing good for me? Is what I'm doing good for me? And I think it's powerful that you're doing this because, like, you have real life experience with this shit. You were like a different person. You come from you like a lot of like drug use and abuse and just like violence and just criminality and just like kind of losing yourself in this life. And as you've been traveling your path, you've been coming to just improve yourself more and more, and to the point where, like, you know, you have more control over yourself. And I noticed that to sign up for your program, you asked some questions, like, and on the surface they're kind of like, they're just quick questions, but they are really deep. It's just like asking, oh, like, where are you at in your life and where do you want to be and what is stopping you from getting there and stuff like that. And stuff like that essentially is just self-reflection, which leads to knowledge of yourself, which essentially, as you keep progressing, can lead to overall freedom. Because if not, your mind can become your own straight up prison. So I just want to hear about, your view about everything.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that reflection, and thank you for taking the time to look at what I got going on. And first of all, too, just to say at the beginning of this, thank you guys for having me on board again to share. You covered two important things there, and that being the ability to sort of look at your own life and see sort of what's working and what's not working. So that's a key awareness in the ability to shift into, let's say, a new program, a new way of being. And yeah, like what's really not working for you, you know? Like, some people never get to that place that, you know, they just get caught up in these low frequency loops that like control and dictate their lives for so long. You know, they've been doing the same thing since they were like, maybe even before they were a teenager, you know, and then they try to grow, but they stay stuck in these their little patterns that keep, you know, forming, you know, they're becoming older and, you know, and more grown and things like that, but not in the sense that they're like developing into a more evolved being. It's my, you know, my great honor to be sharing in this way, and having had a lot of personal experience with certain environments, certain, let's call them energies and frequencies that I learned a lot in, but realized that, like, hey, once the learning was done, it was time to move on to the next phase. And the things that you said too are super key. It's really like, I think this life is about evolution, and how to do that is to be masterfully aware of the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you interact with people, what you put into your body, how it's affecting you. A big thing for me is feeling, like, actually, how does my body feel when something happens? For so long, I was so detached from that. I would just be like, oh, fuck, I'm uncomfortable. Let me get something, let me put something in because I don't want to face this uncomfortable situation. But really, we evolve and grow when we face the challenges and just stand grounded, let it pass through us, absorb it, process it, and then there's usually something that is really amazing that happens after that. So yeah, just thank you for that reflection. That's totally resonant information. I'm glad you picked up on, you know, why I posted that application, because it's more than just recovery. Like, I know that we talked last time about a little bit about my experience, about my recovery from toxic substance abuse, from alcohol. What I'm getting at now is that so many of us are in this process of recovery. We are trying to remember, put back the pieces of ourselves that have been shattered away, that have been forgotten. that have been traumatized by some accident or by some crazy situation that we just like ran away from, you know. So this is more than just sobriety. It's really about unification, connection, community, all of us coming together to help support each other in this evolutionary track, almost like it is like a quantum leap phase that we're in right now in this experience. So yeah.
No, that's amazing, dude. I really respect you putting out this program, because even for someone like me that might feel like isolated or like lonely at times, I'll be a part of a community that is vulnerable to self-expression, to, you know, working on this, you know, like on a constant basis, I think is super important. And for someone like you that can accept people and like for them to talk about this and be open to you about this, I think that's super important nowadays, because a lot of people are shut in with like what they truly feel, you know. So I think this program would be an amazing experience for anyone just willing to get in touch with like any type of higher self, or like get on a different path other than the one in the physical of their daily routine, you know. Someone looking for a higher, like you said, elevation, you know, because now is the time. So can you talk about that more? Like, how are the weeks broken down, and like what can people look forward to if they join this program?
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for also for that reflection too. And that was my main motivation and the energy that came up with wanting to share this program. And like I said, it's more than recovery. Recovery is like the beginning of like recognizing the pieces or the things that have fallen away. What can we, how can we feel ourselves better? And a big part of it was the word community. You know, I've told you guys last time that I'm this community bridge here now. Like I've developed in many different communities internationally, a lot of which the more recent ones have been rooted in ancient wisdom traditions from South America, Brazil, Peru, Mexico, and I'm bringing forward now this, you know, this cultivation and my creative summary of what I've learned in these spaces to share to these communities, especially this one that I'm a part of with you guys. So the program is 6 weeks, and we're going to open up with, you know, the first week it's going to be getting to know what's going on, you know, recognizing if there's a disruption, okay, how can we put that on the table? We get to know each other a bit, and we also are going to lay out a bit of information about our own personal totems, which are our guides, our ancestors, our, you know, potential, like people call them spirit guides, animals, things of this nature that are very alive in us, that we've had experiences with, and we may actually do some journey work into recognizing what those elements and what those beings and teachers and guides are, so we could connect to them. And I'm gonna show everybody how to lay out the basic concept of what an altar is. An altar being like it's like it's a two-part word for me. It's like people think of like an altar as like a religious thing, but it's more like, for me, it's somewhere where you can lay out this sort of like this beacon that'll amplify you. And it's like, you know, maybe putting some pictures of your grandparents there, or some family members that have passed away that you're connected to, or maybe you're connected to a certain animal. That's the totem development. And also I like the word altar because it's like the tailor shop. You get to go and like alter yourself. If you recognize that there's something like going on with you that's not in the right alignment, you can be like, oh, I'm recognizing this thing so I can put it away, or ask for an intention to move it or shed it. That's just one example of what we'll go over like the first week. The second week, recovery and recalibration. So getting into this, you know, what we just said about what recovery really is. It's more than just sobriety. It's really like recovering from this whole system, this whole thing that has like disconnected. It's so disconnected so many of us from ourselves and each other, especially now in this like last year. We've like you've said, like a lot of us have been feeling isolated. You know, how can we connect with each other? So I'll have in this space a community page where we can all post photos and just talk to each other, so we can just really, you know, connect, get to know each other, get to know like what's going on in each other's lives, like what's making you happy, how do you feel super alive at the moment. Second week is self-expression, self-expansion. really, how do you create? How do you express yourself? And are you feeling any blocks there? So like recognizing potentially where there could be some places that can unblock so that you can really amplify your channel of creativity and offerings and your work, whatever you do. And really getting into the place where like, is it aligned to your true self? Is it aligned to helping other people and things of that nature? So self-expression, self-expansion, how to amplify in that space. I guess let's see, that was the third week. So evolutionary embodiment's another week. That'll be the E week. And like I posted about recently, it's like the word rescue that I picked a long time ago. This is just my creative embodiment of like where I'm at now. Like I didn't know why like in 1997 I picked that name, but I recognize that it is because of right now that I'm offering it as a service to people with like all the information that I've gathered that I feel is helpful. I can share it with you now. So that's why I came up with this program. And then also chi cultivation and integration. So QI. So energy is chi. How can we activate that in our bodies? We're going to be doing breath work. We're going to be doing some qigong practices that will allow you to tap into the tangible feeling of the energy that works in your body, not only physically, but through other energetic systems that you'll be becoming aware of. So deep breathwork practices, perhaps even some, getting in cold water. There's a bunch of different exercises I'm going to add in and some homework. And then we'll keep it going. We're going to close it out. And, this container is slightly amorphous and it's going to grow into the way that it wants to. But, a lot of people are coming in that are interested and just, part of the community that we're all a part of. And then also not like I said, this is like, feels like a community bridge for like a lot of different communities coming in so we can all get to know each other. Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked what you said about the whole comparing the body and the self to a tailor shop, because I feel like you can get stuck in this rhythm of thinking that how you are is how you are, when in reality you're like, you can just be as changeable as a piece of clothing. You can really just tailor yourself to be the best version of what you think is crucial. Like even just things like, oh, I'm too shy, or I'm too quiet, I'm too stressed, I'm too angry. Like all of those things are straight up changeable. Of course, it's not just a fucking on and off switch, but with time and effort, you can just increasingly become a better version of yourself. And I feel like that can bring some sort of pain because you leave behind a community of maybe your past friends that what you had in common was maybe some of these negative things, or maybe some of the, but sometimes that shit is necessary. Not everyone's here to stay forever. And that idea of, oh, I meet someone now, they're here to stay forever. Yo, everyone has their course that they're in and out of their life. And I wanted to also to talk about, mention the whole chi thing. My dad, he's really into like traditional Chinese medicine. So I have like somewhat of like a mediocre understanding about chi and stuff. But I know that in that style of medicine, a lot of all the sicknesses and illnesses in the body come from just like imbalances, and like it's the whole organ system is like interconnected and stuff like that. And the idea is to like take away the imbalances that you have, to let the energy flow in its natural state and just allow you to do what your body does, which is just naturally recover without any, crazy external Advil and Tylenol. So like, yeah, man, it's sick to see what you're doing, and like how you've tied it into, there's like a unification of like the graffiti life and like the fact that using like the name that you've written since, like you said, 97 and all of this shit. And it's like, it's really cool. And I hope that, people sign up. And it's like, yo, you're using the internet for a very crucial purpose, because we have these computers and we have these phones. It's like, yo, people are looking for like someone to guide them, or like a spiritual teacher. Maybe it's like, yo, they're all over. Maybe you can't see them face to face, but you could literally join up a program like this, and like every day at 5 a.m. or 6:30 p.m., how yours is, or you could listen to someone just insert brain food of positivity into your mental, instead of just lurking on Instagram, seeing the shit that you've chosen to follow that is probably straight up like driving you further astray. You know what I mean? So it's about choices, and I think people should have you should make the choice, the conscious choice to accept a helping hand and keep an open mind. Because there's people that are around to help, and everybody has problems. I don't think that what you're doing right now should just be for people who are addicts or people who are robbing people at gunpoint or brawlers or whatever. I think it should be for anyone willing to understand themselves more and better themselves, which should be everybody, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like you said, it's there's a new energetic field right now going on, and whether you like it or not, whether you're an addict or not, it's affecting you. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter who you are right now. You could have been the happiest, wealthiest person, but this change in energy in the world is affecting you, whether you like it or not. And you're like, oh, how can I deal with this? Like, no one around me is talking about this. Everyone is feeling it, but they're just going about their day, like, what's going on? And we need people like you here to talk about this, because it's not just something subconsciously, it's happening, and it's affecting us. So that's what I was going to ask about you, because in your description to the program, you talk about how you offer like a guidance to the frequency in terms of like positive and negative. Like, what did you mean by that?
Sorry, you just to be clear on that, repeat the first part. Like it got a little choppy where it said guidance, and I just want to be clear with what I say back to you. Just
Yeah, the audio's been a little choppy, but no, I was asking in the description of your program, you talk about, you offer like a guidance to the changes in the energetic levels of the world right now. What do you mean by that? Do you mean by like the man-made artificial like energies in terms of like the Wi-Fi, like 5G, all that stuff, or do you mean like negative and positive frequencies that we feel inside in terms of attitude or anxiety, things like that?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I'll answer this, and then I want to say some stuff too, from the last question or the last reflection I had from when you shared. Both of those things. So I feel right now is we are all in an energetic upgrade to a next phase. So right now, all of the old programming that all of us carry is being shown to us in such a way that we can continue with it and stay in these lower frequency loops that are causing us way more pain and suffering than it used to be. I'm just noticing that from friends and family. Or we can do the work right now to discard that and start adding in the new things that are going to help us upgrade. So yes, it has to do with new EMF bullshit that's going on, new fucking chemtrail, nanotech, new fucking vaccine, whatever the fuck. I'm not going to say those words, you know what I mean? But we all know what we're talking about. These tests that everyone,
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
On his end, it works.
Yeah, where did you skip? Where did I skip off?
When you started describing the technologies that affect us.
Yeah, I'm saying it's funny that happens when I start talking about this, but just to make a note again and be clear, can you hear me now? Okay. Yeah, I'm saying it does have to do with that because we're getting like, it's like a shockwave of like EMF, nanotech, like chemtrail, all these things that are coming in right now. I won't say that V word, but like all these things are like, I don't know, man. I don't sense that it's the right thing for all of us. And if we can remove all the things that are no longer serving us energetically, like the things that we've been carrying for so long, traumas, wounding that we came into this world to heal, things like rejection, abandonment, betrayal, these things that like have carried and like formed us in these certain ways that like make us have like chips on our shoulders about certain things. If we can recognize those things and gently just be like, hey, I recognize that, I accept it, and forgive yourself and forgive the others that you've affected, man, you open up so much space for new energy to come in. It's really trippy how like it opens up like that. But both of those things are involved here, so we'll talk about that. And I also want to share, herbal protocols that like I've found super helpful, that have helped me like detox, that have like helped me get like really clear, to like practices that I have that it's almost like energetic toxicity that I've carried for so long, and how to release that. So back to what you were saying too about chi and energy, that's exactly on the same vein here. It's like these more of like the Eastern philosophies and ways of medicine have like addressed these things for a long time. in our current system here in the West, it's just like, what can you take to do the quick fix? You know what I mean? And those things like start piling up, piling up, piling up. And all of a sudden you're overloaded and you have no sense for anything besides just taking that next pill. You've lost complete connection to yourself. You've lost complete connection to your friends and family, and you're suffering. So the recognition of those things are super important. And like I said, this isn't like an addict's sobriety program. This is about all of us that are, any of us that are carrying any toxicity that we can recognize or even not recognize. If this is like resonant information and you want to step into like a new phase in your life and go into a new path, yeah, I'm here to share like what's been helpful for me, you know, and again, it's like not the say all be all of everything, but it's just like you can take it or leave it, you know, just with all goodness from my heart.
Yeah. What made you wanna do this? What made you wanna make this program, and just how long has this been on your mind for before you just took the plunge and made the website and did all this stuff?
Yeah, I think it's been feeling it for a while. Last year, I stepped into the role of being a recovery guide or coach, and that was like unplanned, man. It was really like some friends started hitting me up. They're like, "Yo, we see like you're a different person now. Like, how'd you do it? We know you used to get like super bent, and you were on one for so long. Like, how did you pull out of it?" And I'm just like light bulbs started going off, and it was like, all right, now you have to start sharing this information. Um, so the next phase of that, you know, was the gradual recognition of like, now I need to start sharing in a group space. Now there's more people that are coming to me asking questions. So how can I transmit the information to a larger group? So natural progression, I guess, and then all the pieces started fitting together. You know, like I don't. You touched on this earlier too about with the word change, and it's like sometimes I feel people want to like change completely and become like, you know, I'm gonna work in an office now. Like I used to do this crazy shit. I'm just gonna go to this like cubicle, and I feel like that's maybe too much change. And I think we all inherited like our own creativity, our own imagination, our own way to do things. And I feel that should be honored and is very important, you know. So it's more about like calibration to the true self, and that's carrying all the things that you've done that you really enjoyed too. Like even in graffiti, right? Like there was a part of my life where we spoke about this last podcast I was on with you guys about like for a long time I was like, man, there's like so much negativity connected to this practice that I had to take a few years off from actually getting back into it. But thank God I took those 3 years to go to the tailor shop to alter myself. But then recognize like, man, I have so much fun doing graffiti all the time. You know what I mean? Like, let me just get back to that place, right? So like, it's still on. You know what I mean? It's not gonna stop. I'm still gonna, you know, it's just a different way to do it now. It's a different energy to put into it, and I have a larger intention with it now too. And that's a big word here too that we'll address. Is like, you know, why do you do things? You know, this is like an empowered why. Like, what is the reason for doing this? You know, what is your intention behind this? This is about consciousness. This is the shift here. It's about like recognizing everything that you do, every movement that you make, every step you take, every word that comes out of your mouth, being conscious of what is behind that and why you're saying that, you know, and then that way you can really just start tuning yourself up, man. You really just start becoming a ninja after that. And I think that's what we're here for, to become ninjas, 100%.
Um, what kind of advice, or let's say, what would you say to someone who's not very comfortable with maybe joining a program to where they have to be vulnerable or express themselves to a point where they've never have been before, you know what I mean? Because, you know, let's face it, like it's not a common practice to have self-expression or complete vulnerability to another person, or let's say a stranger in a way, you know, let alone themselves. You know, a lot of people, they don't accept or reflect on past traumas, for example, because they're you know, they're scary or like they're intimidating or uncomfortable, let's say. So how do you ease into this with your program, like without giving away too much, you know, um, like a random person that's interested in this but is maybe on the fence, or,
Hmm.
you know, what would you say to that?
Yeah, thank you for that. That's a very good question. So I have acquired some practices that are really important with allowing the body and the nervous system to relax into a place of feeling like trust and connection. So breath work's huge. That for me, it's really helped me sort of soften and really like peel back the armor that I was holding on to for a long time. And really, I think it's just connection and really like words. You know, like I feel like for a long time I didn't know what to say. Like even in my healing process, like it was almost like a complete recalibration of all of this. Where like, you know, like I would try, like I had the intention or the right idea perhaps, but the words didn't sound right. But now I'm being called to this space to transmit to the larger group, and I feel like my voice carries this certain frequency upgrade that people are receiving when I speak. So just really like connecting with them in a way that's loving and, you know, building a relationship of trust, you know. And then the breath work is really important, and also the sound energy medicine that I'll offer is like people can go into these spaces of non-ordinary reality where they just lay down and breathe, and their internal guidance system knows what to do. Like if they set their intention, they're like, this is what I want to do, then all of a sudden things open up, you know. So like sometimes we'll get into that more before we talk, and then when people recognize potentially like a trauma, they'll feel safer sharing it because it's actually been moved in a different way that they've been taught, instead of just like, you know, like you said, the word vulnerable, that's an important word. You know, it took me a long time to feel vulnerable enough to share a lot, you know, especially around other men. It was like at first it was like women, you know, I felt safer with them for whatever reason. And then now it's like, okay, now it's connecting with like my boys and, you know, older mentors and things like that, where I'm like able, it's really cathartic. It's really important. So yeah, that being said, just offering the space with pure intention and truth, just to open a trusting and loving connection for people to share, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And you know, I was thinking while you were talking that, you know, there's a lot of people who are listening to this right now, and a portion of them are probably accepting of the ideas right away, and just, I'm not gonna say open-minded, because everyone like is open and closed-minded to whatever they just happen to, you know what I mean. But there's also another portion, which is what I'm getting to, that hears the word like vibration, sound, they hear breath work, they hear energy, they hear and they're gonna be like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, because it's not like hard science. It's as opposed to like, I don't know, like we were saying, like an Advil or a Tylenol, where you can be like, oh, blah blah blah. So to people who are, or maybe not even approaching it so like harshly, but just like, I don't know if I believe this shit, like, you know, I don't know if that could really help me. Do you have any thoughts on that?
For sure. You know, there are, you know, the cymatics is the science of sound, and that goes into, you know, that we all are frequencies. We're all densities of sound. So there is some science behind the sound part, actually quite a bit. But I see what you're getting at, and like it's, and this goes back to the willingness part. That's the big word here. And if you have a willingness to heal something in your life that you are seeing as like it needs improvement or has been toxic, then that's a frequency that opens up. And so if you allow yourself your own internal guidance to let you internally and intuitively sense if it's okay for you, I invite that into the space for people to hear and take that with them, instead of like, are you going to follow along what this system has told you for so long is the way to do it, while recognizing the current state of affairs that we're in this moment, in this reality? Would you like to keep going along with this program of being herded in like a sheep into like a little tiny tunnel where you're boxed in and feeling like you're choked out, you can't breathe, I'm disconnected from all my friends, I'm scared, I'm fearful? Or do you want to step into the higher frequencies that are coming in and free yourself from all suffering and just have fun and keep it simple, calm, and peaceful? That's what I'll say to that. And the work that I share is supportive of the things that I just said. You know, like I really program that for my days and for my sound sessions for the clients I work with. And it's really interesting, man. It really, it does go against the patterned, you know, thought structure that we've been given on how things are supposed to work. So, you know, I've always like used this like no risk, no reward type motto, like going into a lot of things in my life, and like even in graffiti, you know what I mean? You gotta take those risks, right? And then you pull it off, and you're like, yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? So it's like it's about like taking a courageous leap into something that it's unknown territory, you know. But for a lot of people, I get that. It was for me for a long time too. But just from my own personal experience, when I after I waded into the pool and like took that first dive into it, you know, I've been flowing easily since then. Easily in the sense that like it's been carrying me on. I'm not going to take away that it has been super challenging and also difficult at times, but hey, that's again that's where we grow when the challenging stuff comes up and we face it. Yeah. So I hope that answers a little bit of the question about the Advils.
No, yeah, no, 100%. No, it does. I think it was a really good response because, you know, it's about like how you're feeling really at the end of the day. For example, like graffiti, like, and let's just take away the letters and words, like let's say graffiti or like skateboarding, or even working out, whatever you do, and then let's change that word with frequency. Let's change that word with like meditation or something like that. It's all just words. There's not that much hard science behind like, oh, graffiti can make you feel good. It can like make you feel like you've accomplished something, or skateboarding can like change your life, or blah blah blah. You can say the same thing like, oh, meditation and positivity can change your life, can do, but it's all just words. At the end of the day, like there's so many things that don't have hard science behind them that we don't necessarily you don't necessarily like need to, because I can see that at the end of the night, if I like chill and just lurk YouTube and then I knock out, I feel some sort of like relaxation and unwinding. I don't need like some crazy tests to tell me all that. Same thing where like if someone, let's say, starts a program with you, or even just starts looking into any of these practices, and they feel good during the process, well then at that point, is it really even necessary to see the hard science behind that? Hard science doesn't exist for that long. It didn't exist for mad long. How do you think humans coped? You know what I mean? In the eras before that, you know, they had their ways and were pretty not concerned about whether I'm not against hard science either. I definitely think it has its place, but I'm saying if all emphasis is placed on just one side of the coin, then you're closing yourself off to 50%. You know what I mean? It's like a boxer going in to fight a Muay Thai guy, like, yo, you forgot that dude can kick, elbow, and knee, man, because you really just only thought about boxing. Like, you might be in trouble now because you close yourself off to one side of the coin. Same thing in your life. Like, you were all focused on hard science, but now you're doing fucking, what even, like, you know, stuff to stay awake, and you're like, like every little thing, you have a headache. Well, maybe it's because you don't have enough sugar or water, not because you need 2 Advils, bro. Like, this is craziness. You know what I mean? Like, your body can naturally heal itself. You know, you shouldn't just be so on one side of the coin. I'm definitely down to, even if I don't fully believe in something, to give it some sort of chance to open my eyes, open my mind, and hear about it, see it for myself. And if then I think, nah, this doesn't work for me, no, I don't think this is valid, well, then that's my opinion. You know what I mean? But other than that, I don't think we should just close off to one thing, because look, at the end of the day, like, you were straight up a different person, and now you're a different person. You know what I mean? In a more positive way. And we've had mad people on our show who are like, have kind of followed like a similar trajectory, and a lot of them did it through their own methods. Like John Joseph, vocalist of the Cro-Mags, straight up was like Hari Krishna, plant-based bhakti yoga, and that's what changed his life from hitting people in the face with metal pipes. You know what I mean? And it's like, you could point at that and be like, oh, Krishna doesn't exist. But does it even matter if Krishna exists, is the point? Like, does it even matter if he exists, if the idea of it exists, which was enough to bring someone from suffering to peace, you know?
Dude, well put and well received there. Am I sounding okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. Yeah, so perfect example, and also I think you said a key word there, and I'm gonna amplify this in the space because it's about unification right now on all levels. It's like there's so many things that have helped people for so long get to become a better person that it doesn't really matter. I think that what matters is you, like your internal shift, your internal healing. If you have the willingness to step out of an old program that you've noticed is like looping or just not serving you well anymore, you have the opportunity to do it at any moment. It requires action, it requires discipline, it requires you to face some challenges. But, a lot of wisdom traditions and like, metaphysics and things like this, they talk about the great work and what that is. And I really do feel that it is the alteration and the tailor shop of oneself and recognizing where you've been wounded in your life. What did you get from your mom and dad that hasn't been solved yet? What's going on with your siblings right now? Like, this is just like the closed nucleus that gives you the prime example of what potentially needs help in your life. So that's just one place right there. And then that kind of goes into like, oh, maybe I'm like eating too much fast food, or maybe I'm drinking too much, right? It's fucking my liver up or my kidneys, whatever, you know what I mean? It's like the recognition of that and the action step into evolving into a better version of yourself. And like you said, we can change by the nanosecond. Like if we decide to do something differently, like I'm a new being now. Like I'm like, oh, I have a new idea. I'm gonna be a new being now, and I'm gonna go into that phase, and daily and weekly and these things. So I like the word unification because this is all bringing it together right now. And it's not one thing. It's not one piece of spirituality. It's not about meditation. It's about activation for me mostly. It's like, how can we amplify ourselves right now? Because I think we can all tell something's up right now. Something big's up. Everything is like this, and it's like, there's days where I'm like, whoa, what is this energy, man? Is it EMF? Is it satellite? Is it like nanotech coming in particle and dust particles? Like, or is it this like natural thing that's like this really boosting us right now? And I'm more connected to that, and I want to share that with people about, what I feel about that and how to make relationships with the elements, with the water, with the earth, with the fire, with the wind, all these things that have been around for so long in our place on this earth that so many traditions have used to like help each other and help themselves. Another thing that maybe that we'll talk about in the program, and yeah, just closing off on what you said there too. It's about connecting. It's about unifying all of these, like, is it hard-based science or is it religion? I think there's like golden nuggets in all of it, and it's up to you to take it your own way and just really align to like being the best version of yourself and being like healthy and being well. That's what I feel is up at the moment.
Yeah, and I want to touch in on that word unity and just unification, just to like tell everyone what my ideas on that are. Is like, to me, I think what unity is not necessarily agreeing with everything, but just more so just like accepting everything like for what it is, and then just letting go to the rest of it, because there's no way that you're going to be down for every side of the coin. There's always going to be some like, this might not be my thing, this might not be my thing. But I feel like what unity is understanding that even though these people think this thing, that doesn't mean that they're my enemy. They just think differently, and trying to understand like where people come from when they do certain things, and everyone has their reason. No one wants to be miserable. No one wants to be violent. No one wants to just live their life like a super like thugged out fighting and being worried about getting stabbed. And it's like, no one wants to do these things. No one wants to be on the 7 train like being that freak who like is punching the wall for apparent like no reason. This comes from something. This comes from a problem that they have, and part of unity is, I feel like, understanding that, so you don't make the problem worse, and so you don't just continue the fire and the domino effect. Like, there's no way we're always going to be able to, like, be down for everyone's thing. So I think that it's like on some yin yang shit. It's like there's in the day there's night, and in the night there's day, and they both bring about each other. And you shouldn't just be judging so much and being like, They're wearing a mask. They're not wearing a mask. Why isn't he doing this? Like, why isn't he thinking what I'm thinking? Why don't they think? What are they doing? Yo, it's like I think we all need to I was on the train on my way here, and I like took a sip of water or whatever. So I like, put my shit down, and then like it was here, and I was talking on my phone with my mom, and some dude is like looking at me, and I'm like, I didn't think of it at all. And then I'm just like on a peaceful ride trying to like mind my own business. And then this guy's like, yo, I'm trying to cross. You mind putting your mask on? So I'm like, okay. I was like, yeah, my fault, bro. It's not a big deal. So I put my mask on, and then he was just like, ugh, and like flipped my shit off. And then he like ran to the other side of the train and like huddled in the corner. Like he put his face into the corner so like no one could see him. And like for the first moment, I was like, all right, mom, I gotta go. I gotta like meditate on this before I flip shit. And then like I start like meditating, like I straight up start meditating with my eyes like half open just in case you try to run up. And like I'm like meditating on it, and I'm like all right, I'm aware that I'm very pissed. Like he something clearly happened. He clearly is very angry or hates his life or might even have a mental issue like that just caused all that. Like he is so lost that even if he doesn't have a mental issue, doesn't hate his life, he thinks that if someone doesn't agree or isn't doing what he's doing as a full grown man, that he should be like, fuck you, and then run away as if absolutely anything. So I was like, yo, this is like the type of this is when you put this bullshit that we're talking into actual action. Because what is the use of saying all this shit if the moment he says that, I'm like, suck my fucking dick, like make me put my mask on right now. What would be the point of that? You know what I mean? Like then at that point, like I didn't learn anything in this life. At that moment, like even if you feel angry, like accept the anger, like embrace that shit, and just be like, yo, I'm not gonna entertain this unless he comes and like attacks me. Because if not, you're just losing yourself further and further. So I hope everyone like really does join your program and like tries to more than just like hear what you're saying and hear about your program and have it go in one ear and straight up out the other. I hope that they really try to apply it, like really try to apply it. There's even stuff that they could apply even if they don't sign up. Reading just you're reading the application and it's like, why are you said earlier, like, why are you doing this? That's a deep sentence. I could think about that shit for the next 2 years and still not be done. Like I could really think about like, why? You really think and you get to know yourself. And that's what I feel like application is. And that's what people should do.
Thank you for sharing that. And great points and places that you touched on there. And I like, yeah, for sure. Like the application was like, it's more than just like about the program. It's just like an exercise of like checking in with yourself. Like, what you just said right there is like this concept of an empowered why. Why do you do something? What is your intention behind this? It really amplifies it more and makes you like really get into the energy, like where it's coming from, and that's super important, I think, right now for all of us. And another word I want to add to the story that you shared too, and it is unification, and it's we're all coming together, and it's like all these systems are breaking down all around us right now. The financial system, school system. It seems like religions are like everybody's trying to like grab onto their thing, and like the old structure needs to stay up, but the new thing is coming in, man. So it's like, that old saying, I shouldn't say the old saying, the new saying is like getting with the newer program that's coming in, or stay stuck where you're at. And then it's like you said, the people that, like on the train, the crazy people, like recognizing, hey, like this dude may be wounded from some like childhood trauma, man, that like just keeps looping and looping, and he hasn't had the opportunity or the guidance to help with someone to like help him recognize what's going on so he can accept that and release it from his energy. And I really think that that's how these things work. And for me, it's opened up a lot of space, and I want to share that with people. And another word here, I think it's big too, is like changing the word understand into understand. Like you're being one with it. You're not like below it, you're not above it, but you're bringing it all in. And I think that that's a big part of like the unity consciousness right now, and the community that we're going to need to start building around us again, because last year it's caused a huge ripple effect, man. We all need to come back together and recalibrate. We all need to hold hands and hug each other. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel that that's super important. Human to human connection, or, even connection in general. That's why I'm offering this in the space, because I do, I get what's going on, and I get that, like, we have to, like, work through this in a way that's graceful and masterful. So that was another big part of why I wanted to set up this program, was to actually create a group forum that we could all share in, and post pics and, like, before and after stuff, things like that like, it's like, hey, we get to know what's going on in each other's lives. You have, you maybe you don't want to speak about, like, again, what you said about, like, getting to the vulnerable place, but maybe it's better if you want to write it out, so you still have an audience that can acknowledge what you're going through, that you can show up to and share. And even, like, typing it out, man, honestly, like, gets it out of you. I think, because a lot of people that just hold on to it. I'm getting all these messages this week about, like, yo, man, what's up with it? How can I, sign me up? And like, well, I follow up, like, well, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, there's been a lot of, like, well, I'm trying to do the sober thing, I just don't know how to do it. Or, like, man, I'm feeling really trapped in this job, I don't know what the fuck. Like, I need something needs to shift. So yeah, it's like recognizing those blocks, and then getting that empowered why in, getting the new structure down to actually, like, start walking off of that pattern into a new loop, and then having the new tools available to you, so that you can just start adding them into your tool belt and your routine, and creating a practice and discipline out of it. So yeah, that's some of it.
Sure. I just wanted to touch base, like, without being too pessimistic or gloom, but, like, I work in like the housing projects in, like, New York, because I do plumbing, and dude, I just feel the energy around is so, it's just so negative right now. Not only there, just everywhere. Like, I know friends or, like, graffiti writers from my neighborhood too that have passed away recently from overdoses. And, like, it's insane. Like, today I was at work, and somebody overnight left, like, a dead dog, like, full of blood, right by our entrance to where we work, and, like, all day long it's just been there, and it's just like, dude, it's just such negative energies around, and I don't know, man. I think programs like this, because the mainstream media doesn't really tell you to, like, look within yourself, for, like, do programs like this or have genuine connections right now. They're more like social distance, like, keep away, this and that. Like, I think this is a very important tool to get people back on track, you know what I mean? Like, to elevate us above the frequency we need to be on.
Yeah, and real quick too, I wanted to say about just, you were saying how people hit you up and they're like, I'm having a hard time with the sober thing. I'm stuck. I feel trapped in this job, and it reminded me of this quote, and it's a famous quote. It's most men live lives of quiet desperation, and I think that
That's
if
a
you
good one.
understand, I think that if you understand that and realize that you are one of these people who's living a life of quiet desperation, it's up to you to take the power within yourself to do anything by any means necessary to not live this life of isolation and find some real, somewhat lasting inner peace of mind. I don't think that, I think it's common, like Z just said, to point at the media and say, look, they're not telling us to look within. But why should we even think that they owe us to tell us anything at all? So I don't think that we should even care if they're not telling us to do what's best for us. I don't think that we should even acknowledge their presence as, like, a guiding source. I understand that it is, no matter what, like, it plants a seed in your mind, but I don't think we should look to them like as if they owe, as if they should be telling us what's good as opposed to what's bad. I think that we should say, like, listen, motherfucker, this is up to myself. Like, as I'm realizing that I feel stuck at this job, or I feel like I'm angry all the time, or I feel like I'm depressed. Why isn't the media telling me this? Well, fuck what the media is telling me this. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to do it our fucking selves, we're going to do it ourselves, and we're going to seek out, some things aren't handed to you on a silver spoon on CNN. Some things you have to seek out and you have to find for yourself. And I think that that's what's great. That's something we can learn about, like, from graffiti or from skateboarding or from even, like, martial arts or any of these things that, like, me and Z are, like, interested in. It's like, these things aren't just handed to you on a silver spoon. Like, if you want to enter these like subcultures, it's kind of difficult to, like, you go on this website and you're like, oh, pilot, oh, do 'em dirty, oh, marsh T grade. You don't know what any of that shit is. No one's gonna tell you either. So you have to slowly like digest all this shit. And it's like the same thing, just like how it's not like Art Primo's job to tell you like this is the best shit. It's not CNN's job to tell us nothing, and we shouldn't look to them for that. And we should just, bro, that's fucking, it's night and day, like yin and yang. It doesn't even matter. Like, I think that we should just be like, yo, fuck what they say, you know? If they say something good, good. If they say something bad, it goes one in ear, out the other. Yeah, I'm breathing in the positive shit, and I'm exhaling the negative, and I'm gonna seek out the positive myself, I think.
I also think, and I also feel, and you said some key words there. It's like the trapped person is feeling desperation. They're feeling anxiety. They're feeling trapped. So this is the feeling that we're bringing to the surface right now and connecting to it and becoming aware of it, accepting it, and be like, this is not how I want to live my life. I want to feel joy. I want to feel connection. I want to feel love. And that's what we're getting at with this, the complete reprogram. And for sure CNN's not going to say that, man. It's like that's their job, to keep us disconnected, to keep people in a constant fear loop. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, this group is, oh, go fight. No, go run home and hide. Put your mask on. No, go fight. No, go run. Like, it's just like this constant like butting heads. You know what I mean? And yo, that word feeling is the key word here, man. Because if we all learn how to really feel ourselves again and feel the connection to each other, this whole place is going to shift. And that's why I'm here, to raise an awareness around that and to share with you guys and this community that there are other routes we can take here, and especially now because we're in this like massive upgrade, and wholeheartedly and all my energy, I'm bringing this up and wanting to share with everybody. And yo, I also want to invite you guys to the program, and we'll talk about that later. But I think it would be great if you guys join, and I'd be super honored and pumped. But I'll share some details around that with you guys too.
Sick. Yo, tell the people how they can join this program. Where do they have to go to sign up, and when does it start? What does it entail, and all this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking that. So far right now, just go to my Instagram page and you can check the application. I also have the new link up. So if you're interested, you can hit the sign me up. You'll get an email, and next week I'll be sending out like the more official like forms to like, purchase and all that stuff. So just so you know, just what I laid out, it's going to be 6 weeks full of activations, full of homework, full of practice, full of like sound energy frequency healing sessions, and then we meet once a week for about 1.5 to 2 hours where we can all share, and I'll go over some more breathwork stuff, and it's just going to be 6 weeks of activation with your own stuff to do at home, and it's a little bit over $100 a week, and yeah, there's a bunch of people signed up, and I'm looking forward to as many as want to come through, man. If this information is resonant, I'd be super honored to have you. This feels like a culmination of a lot of things that I've learned in South America and Mexico and Brazil that I've spent like the last 7 years like embedding into the coding of my being. So it's like I did all these ceremonies, I did all these activations down there. So now I carry these frequencies to share in larger spaces. So it's like, instead of having to go to the jungle, now I can share this information with you just through a song or through a talking session, or a story. And that's what I'm super excited about. And yeah, so far it's just my IG page. I have some email stuff set up. So hit the sign up button. You'll get an email. You submit your email, and then I'll send you an email, and then that's how we'll roll it out. And then next week, all the official sign up stuff will start happening. Yeah, did that all come through clearly?
Awesome, man. No, yeah, no, it's good. But I was thinking either way, whenever you talk, it's gonna come through clearly because you're the host. So it's whatever you're everything you said will be perfect. You know what I mean? So
okay, cool.
That's why I'm not worried about it at all. But
yeah, same,
yeah, man. Honestly, if you have anything else to say or anything else you want to let anyone know, just feel free, bro, because I think that we said a lot of good shit and we got the point across and stuff like that. I want to thank you so much for talking, like hitting us up to talk about this through us. It's a great honor because I don't, crazy stories are cool and all, but this is very important and it shouldn't just be taken lightly. And I hope that everyone who hears this can take something away from it.
Man, thank you for saying that. And I want to just add to that that like going through this will actually make you lighter. So it is like a light offering. It's an activation, it's an upgrade, and I use the word evolution a lot, and I'm here to assist in that process. I've had a lot of information come in, and I've been able to work on myself, like I said, for the last 7 years, and it's time that I come forward with this information now to share with the larger community and bridge all the other communities I'm a part of to create this like nucleus of unification right now, so that we can all support each other in this process we're in of discarding the old program and aligning to the new one. So, man, I thank you guys so much for having me, man. I really appreciate you both, and continue, looking forward to continue in this way with you guys and sharing and helping, man. That's what I'm here for.
Thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure, man. I feel the
Yeah, man.
genuine connection every time we have these conversations, dude. Honestly, it makes my day.
Yo, man. Much love, man. Same, dude. I love
Thank
you
you,
guys.
bro. Yeah, just email me this as soon as you can because I need to send it to the homie who edits everything because we want to get this out as soon as possible so as
Yep.
many people can hear it. So for March 22nd.
Okay, sounds good, bro. Thank you guys so much,
All right.
man.
Yo, thank you. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good, brothers. Have a good day.
Peace.
Peace.